The CoinDesk Spotlight is brought to you by Nexo, the place to earn on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and more.
All right, so our next guest founded a decentralized autonomous organization, a DAO, to raise money for Ukrainian citizens and their defense efforts. Thanks to coordinated efforts by members of the investment group Pleaser DAO, the NFT studio Trippy Labs, and the Russian art collective Pussy Riot, Ukraine DAO has already raised over $3 million in Ethereum-based tokens. Joining us now is Alona Shevchenko, founder of Ukraine DAO. Hello there, Alona. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
Great to have you. I know the connection's not the greatest. You haven't been sleeping. You also don't want folks to know your location. So we have you as your photo. But tell us a bit about yourself and why you formed this DAO.
It started, that's the whole story started back in 2014 when the war in Ukraine started. I've been campaigning against this for a very long time. And so it was sort of a natural idea that some multiple friends suggested to me recently to start a Ukraine DAO. They said I would be a good person to do that. I kept, sort of delaying it up until like 2 days before the recent, I don't even know what to call this, like but the worst, my friend is whispering
it's a war.
Sorry? Let's call it... Let's call it, I know that it's a war, but the war started 8 years ago, and this is like a new phase of it. So I guess 2 days before it started, that's when I sort of set up the account for the DAO. And by the way, I'm not in Ukraine right now, but I have security concerns, so that is why I won't turn my camera on or disclose my location. Basically I've been a community manager and helping with operations in Free Rolls DAO, and so that's how I knew some people from Pleaser DAO, because Pleaser DAO launched Free Rolls DAO initially. And on the first day of that attack, I think it was on the 24th of February, it was like at night, I messaged some people from Pleaser DAO, and then I went to a protest, and then when I was at the protest, they messaged me asking to join this Google Meet, and I clicked on the link and I joined this online meeting, and suddenly there was like 20 people there, including like developers, NFT people, and so on, which was incredible. I felt really confused. I didn't expect so many people to jump in to help immediately, and so it was. And also Nadia obviously helped loads with all the media efforts as well. And so that's it was like when I was setting up the accounts for it, I sort of hoped that it would not be needed. This DAO, I was still hoping for some sort of de-escalation to happen, and I certainly was not expecting like this. No one really expected for Western Ukraine to be attacked, at least, because everyone sort of everyone was thinking strategically, and it wasn't. It didn't make any sense to attack Ukraine in the first place, but to start bombing Ukraine at 3 a.m. in the morning. In every major city all over Ukraine, that is really not something that Ukrainians could have anticipated. And so that was a really cowardly attack. And I found out about it when my friend from Kharkiv started messaging me saying that they were getting bombed. I went on Twitter and I saw that was happening all over Ukraine. And so I think I was I had this like sort of state of shock for the initial, I think, hour or so. It's just unspeakable what's happening. War, it's like when you talk about it, like wars don't really do it justice, all the horror that comes with it. I'm super grateful to all the people that jumped in to help. And to be honest, like since then I've been I've been largely like focusing on helping people on the ground in Ukraine. So all the heavy lifting was actually done by all the amazing volunteers in the DAO that I'm forever grateful for.
So Alona, thank you, of course, for coming on, and it's obviously a trying time for you. But what particularly interesting is that, of course, this isn't just Ukrainians who are involved with this Ukraine DAO. You also have Russian dissidents, particularly. Can you talk a little bit about that? You have people who maybe are on the wrong side of President Putin in Russia, who are expressing themselves through this DAO. How were you able to get in touch with them, and how have they participated in terms of, what sort of help are you getting, et cetera?
Well, the DAO is growing very fast, and I certainly, unfortunately, because as I said, I'm trying to focus on helping people on the ground. Like I only have I have limited time at the moment to engage with everyone. I hope I will have a lot more time for it later on. But from Russian people, I primarily speak to Nadia, who is one of the multi-sig members. She's been incredible. She's not in Russia. So I wouldn't be able to tell you how many people from Russia are in or DAO or like in our Discord server. I simply do not know, and I'm sure they have security concerns, so they would not necessarily tell us they're from there, right? So I wouldn't
Alona,
be able to give you the number.
How are you doing yourself, and how is morale?
The morale, God, because you go through crazy mood changes. You see all the incredible courage of Ukrainian people in multiple and all those like viral internet videos, but you also see all the destruction, and it's hard to put it into words. I am working on a project within the DAO that's gonna aim to provide mental health support, and I've realized that there is a huge need for that from my own sort of mental headspace. So I spoke to a therapist the other day, and right now, one of our DAO members, her name is Masha. She's an amazing psychologist, so she's sort of in charge of that project. So one of my main sort of priority tasks within the DAO is going to be to help her create that space for people to receive the mental health support that they need.
So, Alona, how are these funds actually distributed on the ground for those kind of services like mental health, like food, et cetera? How are you able? You collect the funds, of course, and then it has to be distributed. So, how do you go through the process of distributing in Ukraine?
Right now we are primarily engaged with the NGO that's called Come Back Alive, Повертайся живим in Ukrainian. They are the most transparent and the most reputable charity in Ukraine, one of the most reputable charities in Ukraine. So that's I'm not saying that this is going to be the only charity in Ukraine that we will support. Probably not. Some of and again, that's later on. That's probably going to be subject to DAO votes and so on. But for now, we have to move fast, but we also have to do the necessary due diligence. Before we transfer the funds, we take our reputation very seriously. So I think that's what's happening right now. So for now, we are just focusing on one charity that we know that they have a very good reputation. Later on, there can be other initiatives, and there can be other charities supported.
Asko wanted to ask, so do you have an update on how much Ukraine DAO has raised? Am I correct in thinking that there's a token attached, an airdrop of a love token as well?
Yeah, there is. So we've raised almost $7 million. The token is going to be called Love.
And that's airdrop to folks who donate?
Yeah, that's correct.
And what kind of benefits do you find using this method, using cryptocurrencies, using airdrops, et cetera, that you think compared to if it were just a regular fundraising effort? What kind of advantages do you find through this?
First of all, I would like it's a common question that comes up. People ask me why not just donate to a charity, or why not donate to Ukraine directly? And my answer is always the same. I encourage everyone to donate to help Ukraine in whichever way they prefer. So I don't encourage I don't say no, only donate to Ukraine DAO. There is multiple charities in Ukraine operating, so I encourage everyone to find a charity that they want to support and support that particular organization, or support Ukraine directly. Ukraine has published its official crypto wallets on its Twitter account. Yeah, I encourage everyone to help. Sometimes the help can be non-monetary, right? So many amazing volunteers are helping right now at the border with the refugee crisis, with providing humanitarian aid and so on. So Ukraine needs a lot of help right now. Not all of it is financial help. So to me, it doesn't matter how people contribute and how people help, as long as they do something, or just at least not stay silent about what's happening. That's the most important thing. And second, also. Yeah. A very important point for myself is that through this DAO, I have found I've been able to connect to many volunteer networks. I've been able to connect with so many people that I would not, I just wouldn't meet them otherwise. And this way, I can sort of organize a lot of rescue missions, or like, if someone doesn't have food somewhere, or they get stuck somewhere at the border, they're struggling, I am able to connect those people with a group that can help them. And so that is something that you cannot, I wouldn't have access to all these people if people were just donating straight to Ukraine, right? So it's allowed me to be sort of a point of connection for separate groups on the ground and abroad as well. And I've got a bunch of assistants helping me sort of connect those dots, and that wouldn't be possible without this online community.
Mm-hmm. Just to inform viewers, of course, we have images showing the devastation in Ukraine as well as the humanitarian crisis right now. I also saw, Alona, that you had a chance to talk to Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum, and you said that was probably the most surreal thing in my life. I wonder, what was your conversation like, and what did you have to share with one another?
Yeah, that happened on day one of the war on the 24th of February, I think. I was messaged by Ilya from Near Protocol. I think he's the founder of Near Protocol, and he asked me how can I help, and I was in an absolutely desperate state, and I said to him, please get me Vitalik Buterin on the phone. And he called me 5 minutes later, and I spent almost an hour. But it was pretty much me ranting for an hour about all the help and all the injustice happening. And yeah, he was amazing, and he supported the DAO. He showed so much support and help. And then he also introduced me to people who are filming the Ethereum documentaries called, I think it's called Eternal Garden, Infinite Garden, right? And so they messaged me, and then when I replied, they sort of dropped whatever they were doing in LA, and 2 hours later they were on the plane to where I am, and so they spent 2 days filming at my house. And yeah, captured some pretty traumatizing days of my life. But I just wanted, for this whole horror, I can't call it anything else, I just wanted to be documented as much as possible. And I think they've got some pretty good footage.
All right.
So yeah, Alona, it's been very interesting with this DAO success.